All right, everyone. We will be starting very soon. Just waiting for some more people to join, and we'll get started. All right. So before we get started, I just want to let everyone know, please change your name to your full name. So when we add the XP for the Apping Club system, we can actually add it. Because we realize that some of the students, you're not putting your full name, so we don't really know who you are. Because a lot of people have the same first name. So just make sure you do that. All right. And also, just to make sure the chat is working, type hi in the chat. All right. All right, everyone. Welcome to Voice of Influence Persuasion with Anita Chen. So, in this event, we will first give an introduction to Apping Club, and then I'll give an introduction to Anita. And then she will continue with the lecture session. And then there will be like an interactive activity where you guys can also participate. Afterwards, it will be a Q&A session, and then we will conclude with some of the future plans for Apping Club. All right, so Apping Club, what is it, right? So obviously, we're a global community of innovators and app creators, and our mission is to create apps that are able to empower, connect, and create meaningful impact in this world. That's why we're called the tomorrow's problem solver, right? And from education to implementation, we would like everyone in Apping Club to collaborate with your peers and use your skills to solve actual meaningful real world problems. And with Apping Club, every idea, no matter who you are or where you are, you have the power to shape a better future. So let's innovate, impact, and inspire together, right? And with our slogan, Apping Together, App for Good. So right now, Richard, can you just send the Zoom, uh, uh, the Discord link of Apping Club into the chat so everyone can join if they have not joined previously? And obviously, we have our website at appingclub.org. And if once you join the Discord server, you'll be able to see all the details there. All right, now let's welcome Anita Chen. So she's currently a candidate for the U.S. Congress representing California's 17th district in San Jose. She has a background as an educator and leader, having a career in both education and consulting, where she has like focused on enhancing student engagement and learning outcomes. So, known for her innovative and result driven approach, Anita is committed to empowering individuals and teams to achieve their full potential, bringing a vision to transformative educational policies. All right, now let's have a round of applause to Anita.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for giving me the chance to share with you. I'm excited to learn alongside you. I think every time I meet someone, I think of it as a chance to learn something. So far, I'm so grateful to be speaking with high school students who have a vision for how they can use their skills to impact the world around them. That's what I do with my students all the time. I tell them, hey, like your voice isn't meant to just get you good grades or get you into a good college, even though it'll probably do those things. But it's meant to allow you to impact the world around you and bring about ideas for change. So grateful to be among you guys. Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Richard, for this chance to speak with everyone. I'll open up our slides today, and I do need to begin today with a request. I'm a very interactive type of person, so I don't anticipate speaking for the next 40 minutes just by myself. So if it's okay, I'd like to invite you into the space where we collaborate with one another. And again, it's a chance where I get to learn from you and we get to learn from our colleagues around the world. Our agenda today, we're first dive into a purpose and understanding of why we do all of this. What is communication for? What gives it meaning? And then I'll give you a little intro into myself, the reason why I chose to run. Then we'll do a little bit of a lecture from which you'll be able to create your practice speech. It'll be like an elevator pitch, which you can use anywhere you go. It can be in an elevator, or maybe you're meeting someone for the first time, or you are pitching yourself in an interview. I think this elevator pitch is meant to be really versatile, so you can use it anywhere that is helpful to you. And then we'll call on a few of you to present for us. And I think our two officers here are our first volunteers, but after that, we'll turn it to you. And then finally, we'll end on some Q&A. So to begin, let's think about purpose, the why behind the what. What is the purpose of speaking? To begin this discussion, I want you to ask, join me on the Slido. So this Slido, you can go ahead and scan the QR code, or you can go to slido.com, go ahead and put in your number here, 1934793, and just tell me, when you're thinking of speaking, standing on a stage, microphone in your hand, hundreds of people down there in the abyss, what are some words or feelings that come to mind? Stress, yeah, for sure. I was in an interview this morning where I felt some of that, where they had me speak in Chinese. And although 我的中文讲得不错, it still felt kind of anxious. And I had to go through this process where I was like, okay, how do I remind myself to stay engaged with the audience? Yeah, nervous, stress, anxiety. Yeah, for sure. Panic. Yeah, I feel that too. Powerful. That's awesome. I'm glad. Uncomfortable. Yeah. Confidence. Great. Looks like the anxiety is winning over the confidence, though, unfortunately. Oof. Yeah. Sometimes big oofs, sometimes small oofs for sure. Leader. That's good. Hmm. Overthinking, stubborn, uncomfortable. Yeah, it's this weird space because we all want to be leaders. We all want to be good communicators, but it's shrouded in this sense of discomfort and anxiety and stress and nervousness. And so I could stand up here and tell you all my tips and tricks for being a great speaker, and I have many. For example, if you notice that one of your audience members is tilting their head a little bit, when you also tilt your head a little bit, you mirror them, and that gives them this sense of familiarity, and they'll like you more on a deep psychological level. Another tip I have is like if you get scared of looking at people in the eye, I'm still working on that one. You can look at them right here, like in between their eyebrows, and they can't tell that you're not looking at their eyes. Yeah, so I have Roblox, love that. Okay, so I have a lot of tips like that, but I think the biggest barrier that we face when it comes to thank you for your vote of confidence. I think the biggest barrier when it comes to speaking is this sense of anxiety, discomfort, stress. And today I want us to address that in particular so you know in any space how to do that. Another poll that I wanted to take is how confident do you feel speaking on stage? Oh, that's awesome. Lots of confident speakers. That's great. Okay, some less confident speakers. That's okay. Ooh. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, it looks like the majority of us. Oops, sorry. Oh, okay. Awkward. Okay. Looks like the majority of us are here in the 2 to 3 category. And this message is really geared for you, for those that are in our 4 and 5th. I hope that this is helpful to you too. I know it is for me, even though I have years of public speaking experience, one on the national stage. There's still times in which I feel vulnerable on stage. And I'm going to walk you through a process of how you can overcome that feeling and really be able to enjoy the process. My last question before we go into the lecture portion is, what do you think is the purpose of speaking? Why do we do it? Is it to make you sound like a leader? Is it to share ideas? Is it to be communicative, to persuade people? What's it for? Aw, yeah, life does suck in a lot of ways. And it's important that we acknowledge that and talk about it. Propaganda. That's one purpose as well, I guess. I like how Roblox is becoming a key theme here. So either the purpose of speaking is ideas or Roblox. Okay, so uh, what's special about Roblox is that it started with an idea, right? It's this idea that all of us around the world can connect together, and that idea was materialized. And to me, that hits the heart of what I want to share with you about what I believe is the purpose of communication. It's to inspire change by conveying the truth. And because it's so important, I'll say it again, that I believe the purpose of communication is to inspire change by conveying the truth. In the case of Roblox, the truth is that there's teens and young people around the world who like to connect via play. And that idea, that truth, was materialized in Roblox. Roblox didn't just appear, it didn't just happen. There was an idea and a truth behind it that led to that change. And I would argue that anything that you see in this world, whether it's your iPhone or your house or your schools or even America as a country, the United States, it all began with an idea. The idea that we should be able to communicate with each other in an easy, mobile way. The idea that we should live in a safe and beautiful place. The idea that human beings have the right to self-determination. These ideas caught steam through words and communication and emails or letters, depending on the context. And the actions that wrapped around that built the iPhone, built your home that you're in right now, built this country. And so I think that communication gives us this really powerful tool in which we get to communicate what our idea of the truth is, and we get to rally support and community around that truth to build the reality that we hope for. So my desire that after listening to this, you get a sense of how you can speak what you have found to be true in a way that's convincing and compelling to your audience and allows them to rally around you to create the types of future that you hope for. I think that that comes in line with the mission of Appen Club, to innovate and to inspire together, right? You have to have the idea of, this is what I think is a good app idea. these are the people that I want to communicate this idea to, and then let's materialize it in an app that means we can innovate for good. So all of this, I think, comes together through communication, and I hope that today I give you some tips on how you can do that well. I wanted to reframe a lot of the words around speaking. Earlier when we did the poll, some words were anxiety or discomfort or stress or fear. And I've felt all of those things. The one mindset that has helped me shift that anxiety and fear into excitement and purpose is realizing that when we're speaking, we're giving our audience a gift. We're giving our audience a gift. Whenever you speak, you're giving your audience a gift. That gift might just be your life experience or your perspective or hope for the future or wisdom, or sometimes it's even acknowledgement. I hope this isn't getting too meta, but earlier someone said, life sucks. And it could have been really easy for me to say, that doesn't match my ethic today, right? That doesn't match what I'm trying to say today. But instead, I want to acknowledge it to say, yeah, I know life does really suck. And there are parts of it that are really hard. And let's talk about it, because when we talk about it, we have the chance to improve it. If we sweep it under the rug, we don't really get to. So anytime you're speaking, I want you to consider that as you're speaking, you are giving your audience a gift. And instead of the focus being on you and being stressed that, oh my gosh, they're looking at me and they're judging me and it's just uncomfortable. The focus shifts and you're saying, now I can give a gift to my audience of my perspective, of my insight, of my wisdom, of my acknowledgement of their pain or their fear, or their suffering. You change the perspective, change the focus, and now you can be less stressed. That's what I did this morning in an interview. Again, they were asking me about my life and all these things. And I at first, my first thought was negative, right? Oh, I'm so scared that people are going to judge me. But then I took a moment and I said, no, I'm giving my audience members a gift of my story and my perspective. And that helped me to relax a lot more. So again, I could give you a million tips of how to speak well. Like when you're speaking forward and you keep your arms like this, it's a closed body language. It makes your audience feel closed off from you. But when you open up, you're open to your audience, so your audience feels closer to you psychologically. There's a million tips like that. I'm sure you can find a lot online. Many other teachers probably can tell you too. But the one tip that has been most transformative to me in my speaking capacity now is this: to know that when we're speaking, we're actually giving our audience members a gift. Yeah. Thank you, Sophia, for your thoughts. Anxiety is really, it's hard, and it's okay to acknowledge it and sit with it and know that even in your anxiety, you have a gift to give your audience of your presence. The next piece that I wanted to cover is a little intro to myself. I think if I could encapsulate the way I feel about politics in one quote, it would be, the place you suffer is the place you care. You hurt because you care. Therefore, the best response to pain is to dive deeper into your caring. This was spoken by Susan Cain in one of her TED Talks. And I like it in particular because it reminds me why I'm in this fight. For a long time, I was happy being an English teacher. When I was 12, I was not a very good English teacher, not a very good English writer. And then my mom found me a good writing teacher. She was the one who taught me. After 2 years, I was able to speak well and write well. And I wanted to give that same sense of empowerment to my students, because I remember how scared I was at 12, thinking that when I couldn't speak and I couldn't write well, my parents' American dream would fall apart in my hands. I didn't want my students to feel that way. And I think it's that sense of voicelessness when we aren't able to speak that has always stayed with me. Because for years, I watched stories of women and children around the globe who were caught in cycles of exploitation. And I always wondered, what can I do for them? I didn't know what I could do in California. They were so far away. So I just sat with my pain and I sat with this sense of caring and I held it. It wasn't until this summer when I watched a movie called Sound of Freedom, which is about child sex trafficking in the United States, that I realized where that pain would land. In my research, I found that in the United States, the issue of child sex trafficking is one of the most prevalent and pervasive crimes that seems invisible. Did you know that 80% of those trafficked in the United States are American citizens? 70% of those trafficked are from the foster care system. And when we look at the statistics, we know that Black and Brown children, we know that LGBTQ youth, we know that homeless youth are overrepresented because they are often caught in vulnerable situations and traffickers exploit vulnerabilities. When I realized the scale of the problem in the United States and the fact that it seemed nobody cared at the federal level, nobody was talking about it in the political discussion, I felt that I needed to use my voice for something. I'd spent so many years telling my students the purpose of your speech, the reason why you speak, the reason why you learn to write is not just for yourself, but it's to impact the world around you. And I felt that I couldn't stay consistent in telling them to use their voice when I wasn't doing anything with mine. And that created this huge dissonance in me because I knew I cared. I knew I could say something, but I wasn't. But there was this shift that I wanted to. I wanted to say something. 9 days later, somebody asked me if I would run for Congress. And to me, it was a shock because I'm not in the political space. To go from having never run for office, never worked in the political arena, to run for Congress, which is one of the highest offices that you can run for without pre-qualifications, was this huge jump from pre-K to PhD class. And I knew that. I also saw all of the political scrutiny and the smearing and kind of the dirtiness of politics that I really didn't want to bring myself or my family into. But amidst all of that muck and confusion and uncertainty, one question emerged, which is, what if running for Congress gives me the platform to tell their stories? What if? So I sat with myself, I sat with the suffering, I sat with my desire to do something. And I was able to come to the place where I felt, yes, because it gives me the platform to say something, to tell these stories, I think it is worth it. Whether or not the results are in my favor, whether or not people are surprised or shocked, whether or not there are personal sacrifices involved, and there have been many personal sacrifices involved, it will be worth it to tell their stories. I guess that's my challenge to you too, that in your high school years, when you're still trying to figure out what matters to you and what path you're going to walk down, I want to encourage you to consider not just what brings you joy, that's very important as well, but consider the places in which you suffer. Maybe it's mental health that you want to help others. Maybe it's in the technology space. Maybe it's the fact that still people don't have access to clean water, or there's a huge digital divide, not only in America, but globally. Whatever area it is that you suffer, I want to encourage you to pay attention to it. Because although in this journey of running for Congress, there's been so many challenges, and I've had to stretch myself personally as I followed where I hurt, the place that I suffered, and wanting to rectify that for myself and for others, I've also found a lot of peace and a lot of joy and a lot of purpose. So my final admonition to you is, as you're considering the path that you would take, consider where you hurt, consider the pain, because it may be directing you towards your life purpose. Thanks. Hopefully, I can segue smoothly into my lecture now. I hope what you saw in my speech is I did three things. The first is I talked about my identity. Who am I? Who is Anita? She's an English teacher, grew up in the Bay Area as an Asian American. And then the second one is hope. What does she hope for? She hopes to use her voice to speak for other people, particularly for those who are caught in trafficking. And then finally, there was a gift that I hope to give you, which is to step into the places where you hurt, because it may be a signal to you to find your purpose. And that is the intro structure that I would recommend for you as you are crafting your elevator pitch. And it doesn't have to be as dramatic as mine. I know mine is like pretty emotional and touchy-feely. So yours doesn't have to be that way. It can be more concrete and more practical. But either way, what you want to do in your elevator pitch to give someone a hook in a sense that they want to continue talking to you is to clarify who you are, some of your goals, and how they can partner with you. So here's an example. This is more like if I were speaking to a crowd and giving my first intro. I'd say something like, I'm Anita Chen. I represent the energy, intelligence, and compassion of the next generation of leaders. For years, I avoided politics because I didn't see anyone who synergized the compassion I felt with the conservative principles I believed. Now I know choosing between the two is a false dichotomy. I've built a campaign hoping to combine the best mix of traditional values, libertarian freedoms, and the progressive imperative to champion the most vulnerable. If that resonates with you, I hope you'll join us. I look forward to pulling up a seat at the table for you. So here you see I'm Anita Chen. That's the identity piece. Then you have some of my story. This is what I hope for. I want something that combines the compassion I feel with the conservative principles that I believe. And if this story resonates with you, I would love for you to join us, and I look forward to pulling up a seat at the table for you. Here's the structure. We have my name is blank. Here's what I hope for. Maybe you might say my favorite thing to do is X, or I really enjoy Y, or when I think about Z, I get really excited. That's where you can talk about more of your story and what you hope for. And finally, you want to draw your audience in with a gift. So I look forward to connecting with you, or you can follow our journey by signing up for our newsletter or whatever it is. So following the structure of identity, hope, and gift can give you a really clear way to connect with your audience, and you might change it depending on who's in the elevator with you. I wanted to give you another example. This one's more like when I'm a speech teacher and not when I'm being a political figure. So I might say something like, hi, my name is Anita. I get excited when I think about the importance of our ideas. Everything that we see around us began as an idea. Everything from the American Revolution to the iPhone began as ideas communicated through words, then materialized through actions. Recently, I've found that this is true for our psychological realities as well. Our words and beliefs can literally form our realities. And if that's an idea that resonates with you, I'd love to chat more. 30 seconds, really quick, but at the end, you get that little hook where it's like, ooh, I want to talk more with this person, hear more about their perspective, and they've given me an open door to do so. So here's the template once again. You know what? Let me go ahead and adjust this so that the video is right next to the template. I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes to write your script, practice it a little bit, and then afterwards we'll pull people up to present. If you have questions or you're having trouble phrasing something, you can pop it in the chat, and I'm happy to help take a look at it if you'd like. Just so we're really clear, right now we have 10 minutes for you to write a script following this template, practice it briefly, and then we'll have a time for you to present it. Probably only have time for 5 or 7 of you to present, because afterwards I'll give you some feedback and some tips on how to improve or what I would suggest. Yep. Again, let me know if you have any questions. You can pop it in the chat. All right, we got a minute and a half remaining. One minute left. Seconds. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and move towards our practice now. And again, you will get the chance to get some tips. So I'll move through some of the etiquette now. Oh. So I'm first going to call on our fearless leader, Tony, and then over to Richard. But after that, we'll have, here, I'll show you the Q&A. Ooh. We'll have the Q&A. So I thought it would reset, but maybe we'll just have you sign up through the chat then. So it'll come on a first come, first serve basis. Once I call on you, you'll be asked to join us as a panelist. When that happens, please unmute, adjust your camera so we can see your full face and shoulders. That's also very good presentation etiquette because having too much head space or not showing any of your shoulders removes some of your presence power. It'll just kind of like you're a floating head. We'll do about 5 to 7 speakers depending on the time and the interest. And after each one, I'll offer some small tips. And remember, at the end, we have the open door and invitation. So if you want to drop your email or Discord or phone number in the chat so that we can follow up with you, that would be great. Okay. Let me go ahead and call up Tony now. Are you ready to present?
Yeah, sure. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Tony Hua. My favorite thing is the exploration of human innovation and its vast potential alongside the wonders of the brain structure. My passion lies in the realm of AI research, where I'm committed to unraveling how artificial intelligence can mirror but also amplify human intellect and ingenuity. When I'm thinking about the wide spectrum of opportunities AI introduces, from enriching daily life to solving our most complex issues, it instills me a hope. As I stand here on the cliff of the future we're poised to shape, I invite you to engage in a conversation with me, to share insights and make collaborations. Shall we begin?
Wow, that was really good. If you think you did it, he did a good job, drop some reactions in the chat. So claps, hearts, celebration, all of them. Yes, good job, Tony. Nice work. What I really loved was you told me what you're excited about. I could hear the excitement in your voice, and you mentioned specifically AI and oh, lots of
Yeah,
love, lots of
okay,
love. You screenshot it when you're sad. You can look at this. But
okay.
um, yeah, I love that you were really specific about it, and I would love to continue chatting with you about AI. I love AI and the potential that it represents. I think one thing is it felt a little bit like you were reading your script. And so when you're presenting it in an elevator pitch, you might want to be a little bit more dynamic as you're speaking. And that might look like different facial expressions or raising or lowering your voice at different points and just making that emotion feel more authentic. All right. Our next speaker is Richard. Are you ready?
Yep. So get started.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, my name is Richard Xiang, and I get extremely excited over making new things, whether it be like a piece of software, a little craft project, or a complex piece of machinery. The concept of making an idea into an actual physical product that other people can fully interact with and enjoy is what I live for. And our civilizations have been built upon these products of our minds. And if you spent your time honing your skills as I have, or have some interesting concepts you want to bring into reality, I'd love to talk.
That was so good. Drop some love, drop some love. Yo. Changing, is that, are you volunteering yourself to go next? That's what I'm hearing. Okay, great job, Richard. I loved how whimsical and practical your speech was, and it really made me want to continue to connect with you. And it did really feel like you were giving me a gift. One thought I have for you is you tend to do a little bit of a head bob as you're speaking. So maybe just be aware of that the next time you're speaking. Yeah. Another tip is it looked like you were looking upward. You want to look directly at the camera, like your eyeballs at the camera. Yeah, cool. Who wants to go next? Changing in my class, if somebody volunteers somebody else, that person goes. So I don't know if you're volunteering yourself, but okay, great. It looks like Nienke. Niang, I must be saying that wrong, so you can correct me as you give yourself introduction. I think you might have to raise your hand, and then that gives Tony and Richard the ability to put you on the panel.
Yeah, like request to speak so we can see the request.
Are you seeing her request?
Okay, wait, let me see.
Yeah, while we're waiting, if you want to be brave, you can also volunteer again in the chat, and that'll give us the chance to hear from you. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Alexander. We'll look forward to hearing from you as well. Maybe while we're waiting, I did see one comment earlier where it was like, okay. All right, when you're ready, go ahead and turn on your camera. We do hear you.
Sorry, because there is something wrong with my camera. Maybe I could only say the words.
That's all right. Happy to just listen as well. Take your time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Monica. My favorite thing is reading. For me, reading has been a standout experience, providing an enriching learning journey. I enjoy the campus environment for reading. Now, I'm looking forward to earning my teacher certificate from this year. I choose education as my new major because it embodies a commitment to fostering positive change and shaping the future. Although I'm an immigrant, I know to study for the teacher certificate is a challenging job for me. Still, I maintain a positive outlook and believe that I can realize my dream. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Good job, Monica. Wow, you made me feel like I want to get my favorite book and find a spot in the campus to read with you. So thank you for making me feel so welcome. I think we might have a tendency to close our speeches just kind of about us. And I love the way you articulated your dream, but I would have loved at the end some way that I could have connected with you. So maybe if you had an open door for me to read a book with you or share thoughts about,
Yes.
yeah, no worries. Yeah, share thoughts about teaching because I'm a teacher too. Then I think I would have felt a easier on ramp to connect with you afterward.
You mean maybe I can set an example. For example, I can share a book now I'm reading, and maybe I can share some prospects of being a teacher. For example, maybe I will have the intern of being a math teacher. For example, I can make more detailed, make my speech.
I think it was detailed enough. I just mean that at the end of our speech, I would recommend that you give an invitation to your audience members to connect with you again. So maybe at the end, for example, you said, if you like thinking about the impact of words and ideas and educating the next generation, I'd love to chat more with you.
Oh, yes, yes.
So that's an invitation that after your speech or after we get off the elevator or something, I get a chance to connect with you because you invited me to.
This
Actually, a
gives
gift to your audience, because then your audience feels more ready and invited to engage with you. Does that make sense?
that makes my speech more interactive, I think.
Yeah. You can tell I'm
Okay.
an interactive person, and that might just be my slant, and it doesn't work for you, and that's okay. But that's how I recommend increasing engagement with the people you're talking to.
Okay, thank you very much. Very good suggestion.
Yeah, no worries. Best of luck with your teaching certificate. I know that's a challenge.
Thank you.
Hey, Alexander, are you ready? Got to get a couple more volunteers in the chat, please. And Monica, I just wanted to point out how many people are sending smileys and emojis for you. Good job. Okay, Alexander, I'm not sure. I think there's a function where you can request to speak. It has to do with like raising your hand, and then you can join us as a panelist. While you're doing, can we see you, bud?
I don't know how to open the camera.
Okay. Are you? All right.
I'll go without the camera. Hello, my name is Alexander. I really enjoy dealing with business and dealing with money, so I'll make a great entrepreneur. So that's what I'm going for on my later career. I think being entrepreneur I really like dealing with math problems too, so that would be a great thing for me. So if you guys also want to be a businessman and chat with me more, I would love to do so. Thank you.
Good job, Alexander. I really appreciate your bravery and your courage and willingness to present. Great job. I love your enthusiasm for being an entrepreneur. I had a student who was in like middle school making hundreds of dollars on Roblox. Hundreds. Okay. Dude would just get Roblox pieces for free and sell it on like Cash App or Venmo or Snapchat for like 20 bucks a piece. And dude was making hundreds of dollars in middle school. So like, do you, bro? You do you, boo. And I believe you will achieve your dreams. As for some tips, I think I heard quite a few ums and ahs and filler words. So when you don't know what to say, my recommendation to you is just to take a pause and slow down. Don't say anything because nobody can tell. They just think you're pausing and you're really contemplative, and keep going after you know what you're going to say next. Because sometimes our mouth moves faster than our brain, and we want to avoid that.
Okay.
Great
Thanks for the
job.
feedback.
Yeah, no worries. Good luck. And I look forward to hearing more about your educational and entrepreneurial adventures. Okay. Can we have another speaker? There's maybe just one more. Let's start calling people. This is the teacher move, okay? Joni or Sophia. Anybody willing to join us? Oh, Christina, great. Can you turn on your camera possibly? Christina, were you planning to join us as a speaker?
I don't think she wanted to share.
Okay, yeah, I don't see her now. That's okay. Let's see. I think we're good then. Thank you, Tony, Richard, Monica, and Alexander for your bravery in sharing. It is really scary to give a speech, so thank you for having the bravery to do that. I'm going to share my screen and then we'll go over to Q&A. So now we're in Q&A. If there are any questions for me, you can toss it in the Q&A again at the Slido. And if there's any questions that you want in particular, you can go ahead and thumbs up and then I'll answer them. There are no questions. I think this is where we can probably end. I'll turn it back to you, Tony.
All right.
Oh, sorry, last piece. Thank you all so much for being a part of this presentation. If you want to stay connected with our campaign, please give me an email at anitachenforcongress@gmail.com, or you can find us on our website. We are seeking quite a few volunteers to do everything from graphic design to social media management, college and high school outreach, as well as translators. So if you're interested in any of that, I would love to connect with you and hear more about your story. Thanks so much. Tony?
Yeah, definitely check out Anita and give her some support. And definitely honored to have you here and give out this lecture. Hopefully everyone was able to learn something new about speaking and the art of persuasion or language. But yeah, in general, just huge thank you. And now I will conclude the meeting by sharing some of the stuff about what's next for Apping Club. So recently, after a discussion among our officers, we have realized that one of the major problems with Apping Club is the lack of activities for members to do after they join. Because maybe like there's like a lack of interaction between the members. So that's why we will be adding some of the stuff to hopefully address this situation. One, we will be adding like social events where you guys as the members can talk with each other. So therefore achieving the purpose of communication and I guess inter-member activities. And also we'll be opening up the chapter club applications to make it more simple. So I know a lot of you guys are interested in establishing your own chapter club in your school or local region. So we'll make up the process like more simple so you guys can like have more accessibility to do it. Additionally, we will be launching something called the subdivisions among the officers. So for example, we currently have like, the publicity committee, the project and event committee, and all those different committees. But some of them, there will be like subdivisions. For example, for the publicity, we're planning to add on like a newspaper/journalism. So if you're interested in writing newspaper or doing journalism, definitely reach out and there will be like forms and those kind of applications coming out soon. Additionally, in this year of 2024, our main focus for Apping Club will be on research and AI. Why? Because right now, obviously, AI is on the biggest hype, and also research, because research is like one of those stuff that you can do no matter what you do. To explain this, you can do like architecture, biology, physics. There's research for all of those topics. Additionally, research competitions are usually of the highest level for those fields. For example, you might heard of ISEF. ISEF is an extremely high level competition for high schoolers. And to give an example of how significant it is to college application, I know this person who was the a former host for Metro Hacks. His application was really nice. His name was Neil. He had like 4.0 GPA, everything was good. He had some competitions, but wasn't like that major. And then he had like extracurricular activity of piano and those kind of stuff. But when he applied for colleges, the funny thing is that he didn't really get into any good colleges because the good colleges expected better, but like the I guess the lower ranking colleges, they were like, this student is probably too good for us. So therefore, he got into like almost no colleges that he wanted to go. And then the funny thing is that on his senior year, he participated in another research competition called STS, which is similar to ISEP because they're both held by Ryujin. And after getting into the finalists, he immediately got offers from Yale and Columbia, and in the end, he chose to go to Yale. But yeah, this is just an example of how research competitions can impact and give you like the final push for the application, especially if you're on like the barrier where you don't really know what to do for the extracurricular. And why apps is so important is because think about it, use case. The most important about research is its use case. For example, currently I'm doing a research on the comparative analysis of MDRNs and transformer models for polyphonic music generation. If I were to present this topic to the ICF judges, they have no idea what I'm doing because one, MDRN might sound really old-fashioned because RNN in general are old-fashioned. However, multidimensional recurrent neural networks are a really advanced topic. To demonstrate its usage, I would need to build an app to showcase its ability to generate music better than RNN. I mean, to generate music better than a traditional transformer. And that's why building apps as like that platform to showcase your ideas in action is very important. All right. So aside from that, we know that we have a lot of competitions coming up, such as the MIT Summer Apple and some of the other competitions. We will be hosting our traditional training bootcamp for them. And our next lecture will be the TNR Summit, which will actually just be given by me and Richard. Last year in December, we were able to win 3 competitions first place in 1 month, which was the World AI Competition for Youth, Metro Hacks Hackathon, and the Congressional App Challenge. So we will be demonstrating some of like what we made and how we were able to do that in such a short amount of time. And this will be highly beneficial for you guys because I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys want to also win those competitions. So we'll be sharing what we made and how we did it. All right. Anyways, thank you for coming, and definitely if you haven't already, join Apping Club. The link's here, and the website also have our Discord server link over here. But anyways, thank you everyone for coming, and we hope you all have a good weekend. All right, bye everyone.